Well, it was quite the active week across the region to start the first half of the week, but then things got a little bit quieter for the back half of the work week and into the weekend. Thank you for joining us. My name is Christopher Bannon, and we're going to give you our Sunday weather briefing for the week of Sunday, June 14th. Our situation overview looks like a rather benign pattern we are in, with near normal temperatures and dry conditions expected. So with that, we're going to give you kind of a little review of what occurred throughout the week, especially with the Tropical Storm Cristobal and then the heavy rain that occurred over New Orleans. And then there was a nice little lightning show that we saw over Pearl River, right around the border of Louisiana and Mississippi on Saturday night. And then just a reminder, it is still hurricane season, so it is always a good idea to pay attention to the tropics, and it never hurts to check on your supplies. So quickly, your weekly forecast. As you can see, high temperatures throughout the region are going to range from the mid-upper 80s to the lower 90s pretty much all week long. Your lows could be as low as the mid-60s up in like southwest Mississippi and into the lower 70s, mainly along the coast and especially the south shore of Lake Pontchartrain area. So, Tropical Storm Cristobal. Tropical Storm Cristobal actually developed in this area that we call the Central American Gyre, or CAG. There was a tropical system that moved actually out of the Pacific Ocean across Central America and up into the Yucatan. And then remnants of that system finally re-emerged out over the Bay of Campeche and slowly began to develop into Tropical Storm Cristobal. And then Tropical Storm Cristobal just kept spinning in that general area for a few days before finally starting to work north around June 5th, June 6th. And it finally re-emerged back into the Gulf of Mexico and then worked north towards the central Gulf of Mexico, making landfall near the mouth of the Mississippi River on June 8th. I'm sorry, June 7th, early June 8th timeframe. Cristobal continued to work north across the Mississippi River Valley area, finally losing its tropical characteristics just before it moved into Wisconsin and the Great Lakes region. So what was the biggest impact we had? We did have some heavy rain over across the region. However, the greatest impacts were from surge, mainly because we had a very long stretch of southeast winds that kept pushing the water towards the coast throughout the week. And this was well in advance of Cristobal. And we finally, as it made landfall over the area on Sunday and Sunday night, we saw some of our highest tides, and the two tide gauges we're showing you are Shell Beach, Louisiana, and Wavell, Mississippi. These are the NOAA Ocean Services tide gauges, and they both had a surge of around 6 feet. And that was our greatest impact from Cristobal. Now, we also had a flash flooding event that occurred over the city of New Orleans the morning of Wednesday, June 10th. We do want to say this is that the moisture that led to this actually was still associated somewhat with Cristobal because we had a very humid air mass in place, and this was just before we got that cold front, or more so, just drier air to push in later that day. But as you can see from this radar image, that it rained over the New Orleans area for about 2 hours. So if we go to our next slide here, you can see the rainfall that we saw across the south shore of Lake Pontchartrain. There were areas of the New Orleans metro that saw less than half an inch, and there were some areas that saw close to 6 inches of rain, and that all fell in just under 2 hours. In fact, one of the rain gauges we have access to actually reported more than half an inch of rain in about 5 minutes. That is a lot of rainfall in a very short amount of time. And again, that is a lot to say about how humid or how moisture loaded the air mass was. So a lot of moisture to work with. Thunderstorms, very efficient storms, drop a lot of rainfall in a very short time frame. And last but not least, with the quiet weather Thursday and Friday and most of the day Saturday, we did get treated to a pretty good lightning show just north of our office here in Slidell, Louisiana on Saturday night. This thunderstorm developed over Pearl River County, Mississippi, and then slowly pushed into Washington Parish, Louisiana over the kind of during the evening hours. between 8 and 9:30 that night. And as you can see with this video, there was quite a bit of lightning. The storm tops got to as high as 47,000 feet, and at one point we had about 135 lightning strikes in 5 minutes. So looking back at our tropical weather outlook, again, it's hurricane season, so we always need to pay attention. Looks pretty quiet. Nothing's expected to develop over the next 5 days, which is a good thing for us, and hopefully we stay that way. However, we can't plan that way, so we need to always be ready for systems to develop. Make sure you have your list, make sure you have your important documents organized, and determine if you live in a hurricane evacuation zone. If you do, know what you're going to do and have a plan of action. It is hurricane season again, so always be ready and always be prepared. Here's some additional resources that you can look for hurricane preparedness, along with some flood insurance, and then the latest information on tropics. You can go to our website at www.weather.gov/LIX or New Orleans. You can also go to the National Hurricane Center. And then always, you trust your local sources of media, broadcast meteorologists, or some of the national news media as well. Thank you very much, and everybody have a great week.